Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting episode of the Paul Brown Show. This evening, I have my special guest, Mr. John Barnett, and he is the founder of True Healing Under God. How you doing there, Mr. Barnett?
Great. Good morning. How you all doing?
Doing great. Tell the audience a little bit about yourself, Mr. Barnett.
Well, Doug, as you stated earlier, started out when my brother was cousin in 94. My brother was shot by my cousin in 94, so I reached out to him in prison after I went and attended the Million Man March. They told us to go home and write one brother in prison. My brother was shot in the back 3 times over an argument over a pair of tennis shoes. Watched my brother take his last breath. So a year later, I went to the Million Man March, and on that day, Minister Farrakhan was there, Jesse Jackson, Malcolm X's wife, and I remember Farrakhan saying, go home and write one brother in prison. So I came home and began to write my brother's still in prison and started a prison outreach. Once I found out that Dr. King's organization, when Dr. King was alive, there was 300,000 black men in prison, 320,000. Today, 2020, is 1.6 million. So I started to convict pastors, so to speak, to reach out to our brothers in prison. And in 2002, I started working with Reverend Sharp and wrote him in jail. And he wrote me back, and I started working with the NASACS Network. And then in 2008, President Barack Obama put his briefcase down in the White House. I picked mine up and went full-time in civil rights. So today we're blessed to be in about 13 states, 5,000 members. Been blessed to get 17 cops fired and 27 people out of jail. Just recently in Charleston, Timothy Taylor was falsely convicted. He's got one arm. He was accused of raping and killing and murdering and feeding a white female to some alligators. So just recently we were able to stop his 5-year federal sentence, and now he's at home with his mother.
That's great, great. So, Mr. Barnett, you're doing a great job in the community, and what you're doing for our community is great. It's great. I know today you want to talk about black man going extinct. Why did you select that topic?
Because I think now more than ever, Donald Trump has encouraged us to get a little closer, and I think that most of the social ills that we have in our community is because of the black man. The churches is 80% black women, 13 to 20% black men. That problem is the black man. Black youth are not guided by their fathers. Hill Harper was on Monique's show. He's an actor, CSI. He said in 1976, more black fathers were active in their children's lives, almost 71%. Today it's down to 31%. The reason these kids are in gangs, the reason they get suspended. I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. 10,000 black boys suspended last year, 2,200 white, but we only make up 30%. That problem is the black man's problem. Black women are being beat up, harassed, sexually harassed. Human trafficking is at an all-time high. It's because the black man has not taken on his responsibilities and continued the same things that the deacons did back in the 80s and 70s. And the reason our kids are being suspended, being locked up, I believe is because of the guidance of the fathers. So the black man has to stand up. And so not only are we going extinct, they're killing our babies. And so I think it's time out for pastors to quit talking about Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego, because I don't know neither one of them Negroes. I know Peter, Junebug, and Lil Tay-Tay down the street, and they're in prison down the street here in Charlotte. And my goal is to get them out of jail, make them productive citizens, so they can, create a legacy for their children.
So what do we need to do to kind of like get the situation going in the right direction?
Well, first thing I think Afro-Americans need to do, the adults, is put down their cell phone. And the reason I quote that from Bill Cosby, because they asked it, what more can parents do? He said, put down your cell phone. And what that basically means is they're not paying attention to their children. My mother was concerned about me getting an education. Now today's parents don't really care if they get an education. They just throw them on the bus and keep it moving. So I think one of the key factors is, number one, we have to get connected to God. When I talked about earlier, I'm old school, I'm 50 years old, but I remember deacons getting dressed up and putting a suit on and going to church. Now you can go to church with some blue jeans on and a t-shirt. So we have to get back to those basic morals. I tell people all the time, in 1982 was a good time for black folks. Michael Jackson's Thriller album was on the records, not Nicki Minaj and Drake and Lil Wayne smoking weed. Marvin Gaye was playing. We had family reunions. Black folks went to Sunday school and they went to church. Now, in 1978, 79, 1 o'clock in the black community, black folks was in church. Today, 1 o'clock, black folks are watching the Super Bowl in Camp Newton. Big difference. And so we have to get back to God first, number one. We have to humble ourselves. We're very arrogant. We're fighting each other on world star hip-hop. On and on. I think we have to get back to God. And then number two, we literally need some teaching. You know, we shouldn't be, we should not acknowledge the fact that we need parenting skills. Joe Jackson thought it was okay to beat Michael Jackson to death. He might have needed some parenting skills. But whatever the case may be, I think that parenting is important too. We just kind of raise our kids the way we've been raised. And sometimes that's not always a good way to go.
Is there, you know, with the economy the way it is, do you feel like that has some form of an impact on the parents' thinking, you know, as far as trying to survive?
Yes, the finances and how we're being limited economically is always important. Today I'm meeting a young man, been on a job for a year. He said he's been replaced for several Hispanics. Black man. I'm meeting him today at 3 o'clock in Belmont. Yesterday I met some Afro-American women that work at UPS in Rock Hill. A white man put a noose around his neck and started laughing. So finances is very important. But see, the difference between new school and old school, I'm going back to old school because I'm telling you, 1980 was a good time.
Yes, sir.
I remember my grandmother canning soup and canning food and putting food in the freezer. And now we only have popsicles in our freezer. They saved the money. Grandmother didn't buy a lot of fancy things. She didn't buy hips. She didn't buy new breasts. She didn't spend all of the things that women spend on their bodies today. That's why she had a little bit more extra money. I think we need to identify with that. So I think it's a matter of just going back to the way we were and really study. We need to study the 80s, the 70s, understand what Dr. King them fought for us to get. I mean, people have scholarships now, and then they get rid of the scholarship and go into a rap career. So, yeah, finances is very important economically. We spend a lot of money, but we don't save a lot of money. Time we get our taxes, we're out there in the mall. I think it was Minister Farrakhan that said that we spend billions of dollars for Christmas. And yet in January, we're challenged with the fact that we can't pay the rent, can't pay the light bill. And that's literally nonsense. This Christmas, I didn't buy not one thing. I sent some cards to some inmates in Christmas. So my son, I love him. I think I sent him a cash out. But as far as the excessive Christmas shopping that we did back in the days, I didn't do that this year. And you almost have to train yourself. So I commend the Jehovah's Witnesses. They don't believe in those holidays. I got to give them that. But we got to be able to save more money. Because grandmother didn't have an education, but she was wise enough, as Reverend Sharpton taught me, to put some pennies in a mason jar and save that money so that her granddaughter could go to college. Today, granddaughter cash app is in the red right now. So we definitely need to learn how to save money. And that's another teaching class. We need to learn about finance. And I think the church is the best establishment for that. The church is like the CNN of the ghetto, you know. So if the pastor brings in some financial analysts or some financial advisors to teach us, if they bring in lawyers, because we are going to jail at a rapid rate, and if we bring in some people that teach us about parenting, church will be the perfect time for that. Because right there, that's where it began. Dr. King was at the church. He utilized the church to generate one of the biggest marches of all time. So I think it's a matter of doing that. And then not only will you be able to get that teaching of getting access to a lawyer, plug for all of the black churches that don't have a lawyer, call us. You'll be able to get that financial education. Because the Jews are teaching it. They're teaching it right now. On Saturday morning, the Jews are teaching their kids that. So we are no different than the Jews. We can teach them about finances, surely we can teach our kids about that as well.
That's some very important points that you're giving out. How do you feel about in today's society where a lot of black men are being arrested, incarcerated for crimes that they're not committing? And, you know, I mean, it's kind of that fear.
I got a great answer for that. I'm glad you asked that question. I told somebody the other day that I'm blessed. God has really blessed me. I get about 30 calls a week. I have to figure out what police shooting I'm going to go to, what sister got fired in Atlanta. But the unique thing about what I'm doing and what I'm about to tell you is that out of these thousands of members I've helped, people, I've gotten brothers out of jail in Alabama, Timothy Taylor in Charlotte. I helped a cop win $1.7 million in Charlotte a couple months ago by doing exposure on his case. He wrongfully terminated because he was in a relationship with a white girl. She lied about sexual assault, and he later won his case. But I haven't signed up any members of the Nation of Islam. So what does that say? That means they are disciplined. And if black folks don't know nothing else, we need some discipline. If we were disciplined, we pay tithes. If we were disciplined, we eat better. If we were disciplined, we would respect the law and not try to challenge them and act like they Tupac or somebody. Most of these kids are being shot, unfortunately, because of these dirty cops. But some of them is because they're running their mouth. They need to be humble. So the Muslims, I've not signed up one. Not one. 5,000 people. I've been doing this 15 years. So I said to myself, well, Pastor Johnson needs to talk to Minister Muhammad so he can get insight on why these individuals are not getting in trouble and they're not breaking the law. And I believe that the Nation of Islam has identified the fact that we are in a country that's not our own. I don't want to take you to church right now. And so it is with the children of Israel. Nothing's different. History always repeats itself. And I believe we're in a country that's not our own. And those evil kings that was in the Bible, well, we might have a king sitting in the White House right now. His name is Old 45. And he's resurrected that hate that Dr. King put in the ground in the 60s. When Dr. King put that in the ground, somebody dug it back up. And that's why we're dealing with these issues right now. I'll tell you something I heard in South Carolina that was very disturbing. I heard there was an old lady, I think it might have been Orangeburg, South Carolina, in the court system. I got to tell you this story. And she overheard some DAs, solicitors talking. Y'all got solicitors in South Carolina, DAs in North Carolina. And he said, how many black boys are in South Carolina? Someone said about 380,000, roughly. 380,000 black boys under the age of maybe 13, 14. And then he said, let's cut that number in half, and that's how many boys we need to lock up. And right now, as you sit in South Carolina, the place where I was raised, Lake Wiley, South Carolina, there's 27,000 inmates and 17,000 are black men. And South Carolina, the place where you're sitting at right now, recording this amazing show, is that we're number 3 in the country with the most blacks in jail. And Louisiana's number 1. So you all, congratulations, have surpassed California with 150,000 inmates, right? But they're not 67% black. Yeah, they're Asians, Latinos, Mexicans, everything out there in California. New York has more inmates, but they don't have 67% black. And so the list goes on and on and on. But in particular, that law needs to be educated and the kids need to be taught early. When black boys wake up in the morning, you need to pray over them, right? These three things they need to do. Number 2, they need to respect whoever they're going to be facing that day. And number 3, they definitely need to understand the law and know that when they wake up in the morning, they have to be like a gazelle. And a gazelle knows that he has to wake up early. That gazelle has to wake up early in the morning, knowing that that lion is trying to not only eat him, but kill him. And I think that's what our young people are not getting. They're waking up and they're walking down the streets of Sanford, Florida, and they're getting shot in the chest, and their name is Trayvon Martin. They're walking in Ferguson, where I attended the funeral of Michael Brown, and he thinks it's okay to punch a cop in the car, and he gets shot 5 times and 1 his eyeball. Somebody has to educate their boys before they close that door of their home or their apartment or their project. Very important. And if the fathers can't do it, thank God for our sisters, somebody needs to do it. And there needs to be an alert, some kind of, we need to sound the alarm, because we are dying at a rapid rate. In Charlotte last year, 108 people were shot in this fastly growing city of Charlotte as I close, and 86 were black people, mostly black men. And 86 men who could have had children, grandchildren, and yet they're now in a grave here in Charlotte, North Carolina. So we must do better. And every day, we don't need to do it just on Sunday. Every day, we need to have shows like yours to educate our people about it. Make it entertaining. We got to get Steve Harvey and Kanye West to endorse what we're doing today. Whatever the case may be, it's time out for entertainment. We definitely need some edutainment going on in our neighborhood.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How do you feel about the black on black crime? We have a lot of that going on. You know, one black fighting another black over something, whereas at one time we used to just have a fist fight and then just be best of friends a week later, something like that.
I looked at a World Star Hip Hop yesterday, and I seen two girls. I guess they were fussing on Facebook, and the girl said the new word is pull up. You know, pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up there. And then they even put their address on Facebook. You want to fight me? They're bold enough to put their own address on it. So this girl went to this girl's house that was fussing with her on Facebook, puts her cell phone down to record the fight, and beats the lady in her own house. This is on World Fight Hip Hop. This is just yesterday. So I said to myself, there's two dynamics to that. I heard Khalid Muhammad, a minister who passed away, may he rest in peace, under Minister Farrakhan, said that, unfortunately, the slaves in this country, the descendants of slaves, which is me and you, have no choice, or our forefathers had no choice, but to take on the characteristics of the slave masters. Now, what does that mean? Someone asked Khalid Muhammad, it was a white man, why are you black boys killing each other? And he literally said, if the slave is taught well enough and is abused and beaten well enough, that he has no choice but to later start beating his wife and beating his kids. You know, back in the day, we used to get beat real bad in the 60s and 70s. Whoopings were no joke. People would pull out their belt in public. But that aggressive beating came from something. It came from us being beat ourselves. So two dynamics. Number one, we've taken on the characteristics of a slave master. What does that mean? Black folks didn't used to drive motorcycles. And when I was 13, I'm 50 years old, I would see white men, Hells Angels, and leather jackets. Now we got black clubs. Guess what? We followed the slave master. We used to didn't get caught up with sex scandals. Hello, R. Kelly and Bill Cosby, who now sits in a Philly prison. Now we're getting sex scandals. Well, the first strip club I heard about was Ric Flair going to a strip club called Paper Doll in Charlotte. We followed the slave master. So we find ourselves, where Malcolm X said you have to deprogram yourself. If you look at the problems that black folks get into, we didn't have white-collar crimes the way we do now. Our own mayor, God bless him, in Charlotte, you know, got caught up in a little fraud situation, and they got rid of him. Right?
Yes, sir.
That was something that he did. So we're taking on those characteristics. And so we have to kind of, again, deprogram ourselves. And we have to do it almost every day. So they're feeding this stuff into us, subliminal messages. Look at the Grammys. Now, you know good and well, I got to go there. That little, what is it, Little Town Road, whatever, Old Town Road. You know that was the #1 song in the country, period, hands down. I think it was on the charts for 20 weeks. But yet some white girl wins that I don't even know. Right? So I thought I'd throw that at that for Little Nas X. So we got to understand where we live. And as you know, we got a deprogram out there. And it's very important because the reality of that is that after all the playfulness, after all the fight, and the second thing, the dynamics is hate. We literally hate ourselves. We don't want to admit it. We literally hate ourselves. For a kid to beat a kid so bad that they have brain injuries. I got kids in Charlotte. One kid got slammed on his head in the bathroom on the cement floor. He now has a permanent brain injury. Back in the days, as you said, we fight, beat them up. Next day, we shake their hands. Now, we're getting attempted murder charges for a school fight. And so, again, there needs to be more love in our community. And again, I think it goes to the black man. If the black man stands up in this community, if 1.6 million, 1 million in particular, black men were released out of prison tomorrow, they may not be able to find a job, but at least they'd be able to tell their sons, you can respect your mother, or you go left and go right. But because there's a void of 1 million black men, along with us not learning about our health, I'm getting ready to get a prostate tested. I don't want it, but I understand that my uncles and others had prostate cancer. So it'd be wise for me to catch this early if I got anything going on, which I don't, to catch that early and learn about my health so I can live here long enough. God wants us to live a long and healthy and prosperous life. You do not want us to sit inside a South Carolina prison for 20 years for crack cocaine. And my goal is to make awareness of that until I die.
I know in the families, we've had this, whereas you see a lot of single parents. You see the mothers raising the kids, the fathers out there. And I think a lot of women feel like they can raise the kids by themselves. I mean, instead of trying to work it out with the father and trying to make it happen.
Yeah, I would say this. No, I respect my sisters. They told us to never say the B word at the Million Man March. I came home, never used the word again. So I respect and love my sisters for holding the fort down, so to speak. But I would be mindful that, and I go into the schools a lot, and I talk to these principals, And sometimes I'll leave the school, and the mother will say, the principal didn't talk to me like that. Why did he talk different today with you in the office? And I literally said, I don't care if you have to get your drunk uncle. Next time your son Junebug gets in trouble in school, take him in there with a suit on. Because just the presence of a black man in that room with those school officials would change the dynamics of the room. And he don't have to say one word. Just walk into the room. President Barack Obama walked into the White House, they got quiet. They had to respect his authority. And so it is with these mothers. Yeah, you're right. They're holding the fort together, which means taking care of the family with the father's absence. But systematically, they begin to show us things like reality shows. Show us lawsuits of Michael Jordan losing $400 million with his wife. Bob Johnson, B.T. losing $500. They're not just promoting these divorces for nothing. Usher Raymond, R&B singer, is paying close to $13,000 to his ex-wife. He didn't even have her first 3 kids, and he got the other 2, and yet he still got to pay money to her. Right? So what am I saying? I think that systematically they taught our women that you need to be independent. And guess what? I'm charging 2 people as guilty for that. Oprah Winfrey and Beyonce. Oprah Winfrey, with all of her money, still doesn't respect the black man enough to marry Stedman. Don't believe in God, and yet she has millions of black women breaking their neck to go see her in Charlotte. I think 15,000 women showed up last week. And so I went on Facebook and I said, hey, I respect Oprah as far as her business savvy, but I don't respect her as a black woman. And why do I say that? Harpo Studios in Chicago, and there's 3 men that live there. She's only had one on her show. President Barack Obama, Mr. Farrakhan, and Jesse Jackson. Oprah Winfrey, and I'm getting back to the women's mindset, that independence, right? She's never had Minister Farrakhan, Jesse Jackson, or Al Sharpton on her show for 1 hour. Never in 20 years. I ain't talking about own, because we don't even watch that. Let's be honest. So why is that? Why couldn't she sit Mr. Farrakhan down for 5 minutes and talk to us about what he's been through? Well, if she put Farrakhan on it, she might be fired the next day like I'm sitting at home. Why did Jesse Jackson and Farrakhan is right down the street from Oprah Winfrey's show, and yet she has never had them on the show to do an in-depth interview with them, not about an issue or a shooting. And so the Beyonce, the songs, the music. So they got Oprah in our sister's eyes. Don't you hear me clearly? They got Oprah in our sister's eyes. 15,000 women broke their neck. The hotel downtown Charlotte that I could usually get for you for $60 was $1,000 to see Oprah. So they promoted her. They spent money on her. They let her know she's a powerful woman. She's got money. Y'all women need to bow down to her as if she's some kind of god. How can you respect a woman that don't even marry a man that she's been with for almost 30 years? And I just got to put it out there. So they got us. They got the sister's eyes glued to Oprah, and then in their ears is what? It's Beyonce. To the left, all of the things you do to the left. Irresistible, written by an artist named Neo, was the #1 song, and she won a Grammy for a song that's telling a black man, get the hell out the house. Let's just keep it 100. #1, won a Grammy, and that song is repeated over and over. And now when a sister gets frustrated with a man, what she begins to say? Get your box, and to the left you go. Well, Grandma didn't do that. Grandma knew Daddy might have not been perfect, but she knew he could bring the meat home and the bacon. So today there's 2 dynamics with that. #1, music, entertainment, subliminal messages have really hurt our sisters, and a lack of really knowing who God was. The Grandma prayed that the husband would get right, and he'd get right. He might have some kids on the side like Ray Charles, but he'd come back home and get right because she prayed for him. Nowadays, the patience level has gone out the window, and our sisters are not praying for us. They're kicking us out and taking us to alimony and child support for it. So I ask that dynamic is twofold. #1, the sister having a lack of not knowing really who Jesus is. And #2, our men not identifying the fact that our sisters are suffering and they need to do something about it.
One of the things I've seen that lately, there's a difference between how you look at the man, the black man, and you look at the white man. As far as I know, they talk about Bill Cosby and what he did, and then when Weinstein, he comes up, it's like you don't hear anything about it. Why is that such a big thing? And I mean, you know, they made Bill Cosby look like he was the worst thing on earth.
I mean, they treated him like, and still there's no DNA, because I work with lawyers. There's no DNA. no hair follicle of Bill Cosby, no saliva, no old panties. I mean, I'm just got to keep it real because this is how my lawyer gets evidence for rape cases. There's literally this man is sitting in prison with no evidence, unheard of. And R. Kelly goes to court March 15th, I believe, and it ain't looking good for him because they've already released one show. And so to make sure he gets to go to jail this time, even though he's the king of R&B, they got a second show they just released a couple weeks ago. So what are they doing? The media is mounting up the execution, I call it, or should I say the crucifixion of R. Kelly. Because they just ran a second show, and the first show was watched by 27 million people. So he's already been convicted. But you can't tell me that the jury have not seen that, or the jury that they picked. I'm sure they've seen the stories of R. Kelly. So back to Bill Cosby and Brother Weinstein. Yes, it's important that they crucify us and send out those, I call them subliminal messages. You got to understand subliminal messages is powerful. I'll give you one real quick. At the Grammys, I've seen 3 gay black men. One not really gay, but he was dressed like he was gay. Key example. I didn't see a positive singing black man on the Grammy. I want you to go back and look at it. You had Lil Nas X, who just admitted that he was gay and he had a pink cowboy hat on. They had Billy Porter on stage with a dress on, black man. Another subliminal message. Right? So you begin to see this so much, because my children are seeing this. Babies, my babies in the church, 10, 11 years old. They would think it's okay to put a dress on like David Smith. Now, I'm going to drop something on you. It may hurt a little bit, but I got to give it to you. I'm going to give it to you straight, no tapes. Remember going to the mosque in 96, 95. I used to go to church and then I go to the mosque. I remember this Muslim brother saying, the top 8 black actors in Hollywood have put a dress on. I was like, what is he talking about? He said they're trying to demise our character. They're trying to demonize. And eventually, it's going to take effect on the kids, and they're going to start thinking that maybe it's okay to be gay. Maybe it's okay to date a little black boy in school, and I'm a black boy, and I'm 13 years old. Or maybe it's okay to be a lesbian. He began to call off these names. He said, I'm going to call the roll. He said, Martin Lawrence. Everybody said, Shanae. He said, Flip Wilson. Everybody said, Geraldine. He said, Jamie Foxx. Give him all that money. And everybody said Wanda on Living Color. He kept going. Wesley Snipes. We did a movie with Patrick Swayze. He put a dress on. And as you see, Dave Chappelle would not put a dress on. He said he came in his trailer 3 times. Come on, Dave. He said, I'm already funny. Why I got to put a dress on? And he loses a $50 million contract. What is Hollywood? And who's fueled by Hollywood? Is it the Jews behind the scenes? Who's fueling these guys to put these dresses on? The only nigga who put a dress on is Denzel Washington. Will Smith kissed the white man in one of those movies. I go on and on. The top 8 black actors have put a dress on. Tommy Davidson has dressed up like a woman. I mean, the list goes on and on. Even the great Richard Pryor, who I love to death, fell down in JoJo Dancer and put a dress on stage. You better check the rules. So I'm saying this for one reason. We have to get back to that strong, positive male image. You said earlier about the women being independent now. They don't need no man. Well, they don't. You're right. They don't need a man. They got a nice job. They got a Mercedes, and they got a bunch of batteries in their closet. You know those batteries are for. You'll catch that later. So what is my point? In the 60s, Dr. King, when Rosa Parks was faced with being kicked off of a bus, it wasn't Oprah and Beyonce and 6 other women that stood up. Let's be honest, the Black Lives Matter movement was sparked by 3 gay women. 2 or 3 gay women. Ain't that crazy? And they don't have office. But yet their concept went viral. But that's another message. The civil rights movement is not the new gay movement. And it's definitely not the new lesbian movement. And I don't care who says it. The civil rights movement was the foundation was black men standing up. So back to Dr. King and Rosa Parks. So what happened? When Rosa got kicked off that bus, they said, Rosa, sit down. We got this. And 5 men stood up. Andrew Young, Jesse Jackson, Stokely Carmichael, a.k.a. Kwame Ture, Dr. King, and Brother Abernathy. They all stood up and fought for that system. And I believe that. And I believe in hope. I believe that things are going to get better. I think if we go through enough hell in this country to get better, I believe that one day the black man is going to realize something's going on. We got to wake up. And something's going to go off in his brain to be able to stand up the way Dr. King and others did for Rosa Parks. And that day will be the day that the sisters will begin to respect us more and identify with our authority. But right now, the authority is gone for the black man. The new authority figure for the family is the black mother. We got to change that.
Mr. Barnett, we're running short on time. If someone wanted to get in contact with you, how would they go about doing that?
We're on Instagram, actually, under Civil Rights _CEO. We're on Facebook, John Barnett 1, 2, and 3. Our organization is True Healing Under God in Charlotte. You can type in Doug and it'll pop up. And our phone number is 803-412-6854. Again, that's 803-412-6854. Anybody in Charlotte knows us. You can call probably 20 law firms in Charlotte, and they can give us the numbers. So if they kind of miss the numbers, miss the website, just call a Black Charlotte lawyer, and they can get you connected to us in Charlotte. We're blessed to be connected with 42 lawyers in 10 states. So I feed their kids, so to speak, with these lawsuits. Because people are calling us quicker than they're calling their mother in 911. And I'm thankful for that.
Mr. Barnett, thank you for coming on the show, and we look forward to hearing more from you and the great work that you do in the community. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching this. Say again, sir?
Oh, yes. Oh. Thank you. I was going to say, I appreciate your show. I'll be sharing your link with everybody.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for watching the show, and you be encouraged.